Hello! In this video I want to show you how to make some really cool armor pieces for the corset that Cersei wears in Game of Thrones. So do you also watch Game of Thrones, or have you watched it? And did you like it? Did you have a favorite character? I really loved the series. It was so exciting and also some sad and emotional things and really awesome costumes. So of course I had to make this dress from Cersei where she wears this corset with armor pieces, like in this costume that I made. And I used Black WORBLA to make the armor pieces, and I can show you how you can make it in this video. So if you want to see how I made the armor pieces for the corset and also the necklace for Cersei, then keep watching this video. And without further ado, let's get into the video. And wait, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss my other videos, because I have a lot of videos about WORBLA. So if you like WORBLA, then watch my videos. And if you like WORBLA, then buy my book. And I also have more books, so this is not the only book, but I have books about the cosplays that I make, and they're mostly ebooks. This one is a hard copy, but you can also get this as an ebook. Yeah, just check out the website and you will see all the books, and maybe you will find some that you like. So, and you really support me by downloading them, so thank you already. Also let me know in the comments if you downloaded the book, which one it was, and if you liked it. And maybe you can also tell me if you want to see other books in the future and what subjects that you want to see me write about. Okay, now let's get into the video. Let's get into the video. I started by making a pattern. This can be a little bit tricky pattern to make, so if you want to do it more easy, then you can download this pattern that I made from my website. Of course it will look much prettier and you can just download it as a PDF and print it. The corset armor consists out of one middle piece and 4 side pieces, as you can see, and of course we also have a necklace piece. Then I cut all the pattern pieces out of 2 mm thick craft foam. These foam pieces will serve as a base to make it more stable, and they will be inside 2 layers of WORBLA. So I'm going to use the so-called sandwich method with the WORBLA. Because the foam is so thin and so soft, you can easily cut it with scissors. Here are the pieces that will be the base for the armor. To turn now sloppy pieces into very sturdy armor pieces, I'm going to use some thermoplastic. The one that I'm using is called Black WORBLA. Actually, it's called WORBLA's Black Art. But to make it easier, we're just going to call it Black WORBLA. To draw on the WORBLA, I'm using a white paint marker, so I can see the lines. Then I cut around all the shapes with a pair of scissors. I really make sure that I keep around 1 or 2 centimeters extra around the lines. I need this for sandwiching the foam later. WORBLA needs to be heated up to work with it. So to protect my table against the heat, I'm using a silicone mat. You can also use a silicone baking mat. To heat up the WORBLA, I'm using a heat gun. This is the one that I got, and I put it on 330 degrees Celsius. That's a great temperature to heat up WORBLA. To do the fine sculpting of the WORBLA, I'm using clay modeling tools. And of course, I'm using a scissor that I need a lot. And here are the foam pieces that are the basis for my armor pieces. And then there is all the WORBLA that I will need to make these corset armor pieces. For every foam part I have 2 similar pieces of WORBLA. able to actually work with the Worbla, it needs to be heated up to approximately 70 degrees Celsius. Once the Worbla is hot, it will be soft and stretchy and it will stick to itself, which is perfect for crafting. I already mentioned that I wanted to use the sandwich method. That means that I'm going to sandwich the piece of foam between two layers of Worbla. This will make the armor piece very strong and sturdy, because once Worbla cools down, it will be hard again. And it's just plastic. Once the Worbla cools down, during working, it will get a little bit hard again, and you can't sculpt it or stick it or do whatever with it anymore, so then you need to heat it up in between your work. To really capture the foam tightly inside the two pieces of Worbla, I'm just using some pressure against the edges and pushing the Worbla together. Because the adhesive that is inside of the Worbla is activated once the Worbla is hot, this will create a very strong bond between the two layers of Worbla. If you don't use enough heat on it, or if you don't use enough pressure, the two layers can come loose again once the Worbla has cooled down, and we really don't want that to happen. So with everything nice and heated up again, we can actually start cutting out the shape with some scissors around the edges of the foam. It's really important that I don't cut away too much of the Worbla, because then the foam will pop out again and it really needs to be closed. And also to not cut away too little, because that will leave us with some ugly edges around the Worbla that are really difficult to get away. Of course, now the piece is flat and we want it to shape to the body. So I'm heating up the Worbla again and then just gently make a curved line into it. Once the material is cooled down again, this curve will stay in it. Now I need to make some patterns for the decorations that will be on this armor piece. This is the front middle piece of the corset armor, and it has some shapes of fire on it and also a lion's head. So I'm just sticking some painter's tape onto the Worbla and then I'm sketching the shape of the fire that I want onto it. I'm just using a ballpoint pen for this. I do the same for the other flame and also for the lion's head. First I drew a circle and also a line on the middle, so I know what the middle of the lion's head is. Then I add the nose and the face and also the eyes and everything of the lion, so I know where I have to put all the details. This will actually serve as a guide later for sculpting the actual lion, because yes, we're going to sculpt the lion's head onto this armor piece. I will show you that it's not as hard as it seems like now. When my sculpting examples are done, I will carefully take off the tape of the Worbla and put it on a piece of paper. The same with the lion's head. And I make some notes so I know which flame goes left and which one goes right. Then I take my scissors and I cut out the shapes, so I have a pattern that I can trace on the Worbla. I want my flames to be three-dimensional, so I'm first taking a scrap of worbla, that's actually 2 layers of worbla, and it's just the right size for the flame, and I just draw the edge of the flame onto it. Then I cut this shape out with my scissors. Because it's a double layer of worbla, it's of course a bit more tricky to cut out, but to make it easier, you can heat up the worbla a little bit to make it softer. Then it's much easier to cut it with scissors. And there I have my base shape for the flame, and I sketch some of the shapes onto it that I want to add. I take more scraps of worbla and I just heat them up until they are soft enough to cut. Then I cut little shapes out of it, which of course you don't see because I cut it out of the frame. But I just cut little pieces of the worbla. Then I actually heated up the flame and also the little piece of worbla, and because the worbla is then sticky, it will stick to itself, just like clay. You don't need any glue for this. With my wooden clay modeling tool, I carve some lines into the flame to give it more shape. Doesn't it look cute already? I add some more tiny little scraps of worbla to create some extra details for the flames. And by carving some extra lines into the worbla, it really brings the flame to life. Now it's time to attach the flame onto the corset piece. To do this, I heat up both the corset piece and the back of the flame. Then both of these pieces are sticky, and I will use some pressure and push it onto the corset piece. With my wooden clay modeling tool, I refine the edges and further detail the flame how I like it. So I wonder, do you also like to use worbla for sculpting? I personally think it's really relaxing. After this flame was done, I of course made the other flame. But I didn't film that because it would be just the same, just mirrored. And that would be a little bit boring for you to see, I think. So next up is the sculpting of the lion head. Just like with the flame, we're starting with the base of a double layer of worbla. And then I'm taking little pieces of worbla scraps, sculpting them into little balls and adding them onto the lion face to create a three-dimensional lion face. Of course, our lion also needs a nose, so the next thing that we're going to add is a nose. So it can at least smell something. And a chin. And the sides of the jaw. I'm basically just adding more and more little pieces of worbla to really make the shape of the lion come to life. In between, I keep heating up the worbla to make sure that it stays soft and sculptable, because when it cools down, like we know, the Worbla gets hard again and you can't sculpt it anymore. So we need to heat it up in between. Since Worbla needs to be about 70 degrees Celsius in order to work with it, you will probably believe me when you say you will get some fireproof hands when you sculpt with Worbla. But I think it's worth it, because you can make such beautiful things with this material, and the result is also very sturdy because it's plastic, so it doesn't really break very easily. And also, when the Worbla is cooled down again, this material is waterproof. So that's also really nice, it won't melt when there is some rain onto it. So while I'm relaxing and sculpting away here, I want to take this moment to do a little bit of shameless self-promotion, because of course this is my channel, so I can do that if I feel like it. Did you know that I also have an Instagram page, where I post a lot of progress from cosplays and also a lot of tutorials and little tips and tricks. It's also Pretzel Cosplay, and I will also link it down below in the description, so it will be easy for you to find it. So follow me on Instagram if you like. Thank you very much if you do. And of course don't forget to like and subscribe on my YouTube channel, because that's where you are right now, and if you subscribe you won't miss my other videos. So thank you a lot for that as well. And I also wanted to say that down in the description below I will put a list of all the materials that I used. And I will also put some links with it where you can buy it as well. The Amazon links that I put there are affiliate links. So that means if you click on it and buy it through Amazon, I will get a really small commission from that. So by buying through those links, you actually support my cosplay work, which I really much appreciate. And for you, it doesn't cost you anything more if you buy through my links or another one. So I just wanted to put that out, so at least you know that those are affiliate links. So thank you in advance for considering using those links to do your Amazon shopping. So while I was talking, I also finished the face of the lion. So let's put it onto our corset armor. To make the lion head stick to the armor piece, I'm heating up both the armor piece and the lion head to make the Worbla soft and sticky. Then I push the lion head firmly onto the armor piece. To keep the armor piece into shape, I put a block of silicone underneath. This is actually a mold that I made for casting gems, but because it's silicone, the Worbla won't stick to it. So I can use it easy to use as a shape keeper for the Worbla, and it also doesn't carry the heat. I can easily heat up the silicone and it won't burn or anything. So it's really nice to use for this. I realized that was a very weird explanation, but I'm Dutch, so I'm actually not English, so I didn't know how to explain it better. And now I'm actually finishing the details of the lion's head by carving some extra lines to give it the look of a lion's mane. I want to add some detail lines to all the edges of the armor pieces. To do this, I take a scrap of Worbla. This is actually a double layer of Worbla. It is the edge of the piece that I cut away right at the beginning of this video. And now I can use the scrap again. So I just cut a really thin line out of this Worbla. And now, as you can see, I have this line here. And to be able to attach it to the side of the piece, I heat up the piece that I want to stick it to, and I also heat up the little line that I want to stick to it. So they both become soft and sticky. Then I just place the strip of Worbla right where I want it, at the edge of the armor piece. And I press it onto it so it makes a strong bond. When I reach the edge, I just cut it away, snip, with a pair of scissors. It's easy like that. And I continue doing this around the whole armor piece. And of course also for the side armor pieces, not only for the front. With my wooden clay modeling tool, I finish off the edge to make it extra sharp and extra smooth. It's much easier to do that with a tool instead of by your hands, because then it will be a lot straighter. I made the necklace following the exact same steps as for the other armor pieces. But I also added some swirly lines onto it by just carving them with my clay modeling tool. Then I heat up the whole necklace and shaped it so it would fit around my neck. The armor pieces, however, are not fully shaped to the body yet. So we're going to change that now. To do this, I heated up the armor pieces and then I took a mannequin, so a dress form, and then I put the Worbla pieces around it so they get the shape of a torso. The warm Worbla of course sticks a little bit to the mannequin, so they kept in place until they cooled down, and then I just took them off again. To finally give the armor pieces some color, I first painted 2 layers of PVA primer onto all the pieces. This made a really smooth surface for paint. After this, I painted a black base layer with acrylic paint on all the pieces. And then I used PBU's gilding wax to brush some golden antique looking color onto all the parts. And then the painting was also finished. I really love the result, and I think it almost looks like real metal. To attach the armor pieces to the corset, I drilled little tiny holes into the armor pieces and then hand stitched them onto the corset, so they're actually attached to it. Did you ever make a corset armor before? I really wonder, because for me it was the first time, but I really liked doing it. So that's how I made the armor pieces for Cersei's corset, and I hope you really liked watching it. I liked really much to make it, so that was really nice, and it's also a really nice costume to wear. I can wear it with my own hair, I don't need to wear a wig. I like that. I like that because wigs are not really easy to put on when you have like long hair like this, so I always like it when I can wear my own hair with a cosplay. I'm talking too long. I'm sorry.
You probably don't want to hear me talking. So,
yeah. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos about Worbla and cosplay, and there will also be some foam videos because I'm making some stuff with foam at the moment, so that will be in the future. And if you want to see more Worbla videos, then be sure to check out my playlist. It has a lot of videos about making armor and details and accessories, stupid word, with Worbla, so yeah, check it out. And I will also link where you can buy Worbla so you can try it out for yourself if you never tried it. Yeah, that's it. So now I'm finally done talking. So thank you so much for being here until this part of the video. Thank you. You are the true... You're awesome. Bye bye. See you in the next video.